Hello everyone. This is the lecture recitation 2 video for machine learning and computer vision course. My name is Najma Parveen Sheikh. My PeopleSoft ID is 1950506. So in this video, we will be going through 5 questions regarding optimization algorithms and their answers. The first question is explain the similarity and difference between batch, mini batch, and stochastic gradient descent algorithms. What are the pros and cons of batch gradient descent and stochastic gradient descent? So batch gradient descent and mini batch gradient and stochastic gradient descent are the three algorithms that are used to optimize the cost function or the loss function in a network. So these are three different methods and they are implemented differently. So the batch gradient descent, in the batch gradient descent method, in this method, it computes the gradient using the whole training sample, whereas in mini batch gradient descent, a small subset of training set is used in each iteration. In stochastic method, the computation gradient uses only a single training sample. The next difference is the batch method is slow and computationally expensive because the whole training sample gets the whole training sample is used for each iteration. Whereas in mini batch and for mini batch and stochastic, the computation is faster and it's comparatively less expensive. Third difference between them is since the whole training sample is being used for doing the optimization, the batch method is not suggested for huge training samples, whereas the mini batch as well is not very suggested for huge training samples. Stochastic gradient, on the other hand, uses a single training sample for each iteration. So it is recommended for large training samples. Batch gradient descent is deterministic in nature, mini batch is iterative in nature, and stochastic gradient is stochastic in nature. The convergence in batch gradient descent is slow because the whole training sample needs to be processed for each time. In mini batch and stochastic, the convergence rate is much faster. But the batch method can't escape shallow local minima. Mini batch and stochastic gradient can escape the shallow local minima because they are targeting data in a much more precise way. So these are some of the differences and similarities between the three algorithms. So next we'll go to the second part of the question, which is what are the pros and cons of batch gradient descent and stochastic gradient descent. The pros and cons of batch gradient descent algorithm are: compared to stochastic gradient descent, batch algorithm has more stable convergence and error gradient. It has many benefits of vectorization. This process is computationally efficient as it updates as updates are required after the run of an epoch. During convergence, a more direct path is taken to reach the minimum because all the samples are taken at a time. On the other hand, the cons of this method are the algorithms converge at a local minima and a saddle point. Since all the observations need to go through for each update, the learning rate is very slow compared to other methods. The pros and cons of stochastic gradient descent algorithm are uh, in a stochastic gradient descent algorithm, only one observation is being processed by the network, so it's easier to fit into the memory. This algorithm reaches the minimum faster than the batch GD on a larger data set because this computes faster compared to that. The frequency updates create plenty of oscillations which can be useful for getting out of local minimums. Some disadvantages of this method are the algorithm can go into wrong direction due to minute frequent updates because it updates after every observation. So there may be some false observations or false updates in between, and the algorithm can go into wrong direction because of those minute updates. The benefits of vectorization reduces as we process one observation per time. Frequent updates are computationally expensive due to using all resources for processing one training sample at a time. So these are some of the cons of the stochastic gradient. For the second question, we have, does any of these algorithms, batch, mini-batch, stochastic, guarantee that the loss function would decrease at every iteration? Explain why. Only the batch gradient descent algorithm guarantees that the loss function would decrease at every iteration. In a batch descent method, the sum of all the examples, all the examples are summed up at on each iteration while updating the parameters. So it has a straight trajectory towards the minimum and and is guaranteed by theory to converge and decrease the loss function at every iteration. If the loss function is convex, it converges to global minimum, and if it is not convex, it converges to local minimum. On the other hand, the mini batch and stochastic gradient descent have more noise during the learning process. Due to the noise, the learning rate would have many oscillations, and because of those oscillations, the loss function would never properly converge at every iteration. So for the third question, we have explain how exponentially weighted averaging EWA works. How is EWA useful in optimizing neural networks? What is the role of bias correction in EWA? EWA is also known as exponentially weighted averaging, a way to estimate the average of the given data set. In this method, soft thresholding is performed using a formula. Um, in this method, the averaging of data is done in such a way that the extreme points of the data are exponentially weighted to form a smooth curve. So you can see in this image that in the first image, um, the in the first image, the red line is the average and the green line is the exponentially weighted average. So I would like to take the same example that was given in the class. If we have a data set of temperature, we have a data set of temperature on each day, then then on each day we are calculating an EWA point. So to calculate that EWA point, we use the formula Vt is equal to beta Vt minus 1 plus 1 minus beta theta t, where Vt is the EWA at the second point, and I mean at the next point, and T minus 1 is the EWA at the previous point, and theta t is the temperature at that point. So initially we start by um, initially we start by initializing the EWA at one point as 0. So V0 is 0, and so on. We can calculate the EWA values by using this formula. Here we can vary the beta value. The beta can be 0. We can choose beta according to our specifications, and as the beta value changes, the normal average changes, but the exponentially weighted average doesn't change. So this was exponentially weighted average, how it works, and how it is useful for a neural network is this method is useful to implement faster computations in a neural network. It is also used to reduce the noise in a time series data. Coming to the third part of the question, what is the role of bias correction in EWA? Bias correction is used in EWA is used to get more accurate values of the data. it is used during the initial phase of the training to obtain better estimate of temperature. For example, if you see the image with the green curve and the image with the purple curve, so when you actually implement the formula that was discussed before, we do not get the green curve, we actually get the purple curve. And the purple curve and the green curve are almost the same except the initial values. So during the initial phase of the training, there is always a huge variation in the data points. So to streamline those and streamline that part of the training process, bias correction is used. In the fourth question, we have describe how Adam optimization algorithm works. The Adam optimization algorithm can be used as a replacement for the stochastic gradient descent algorithm, because the stochastic gradient descent algorithm has only a single learning rate throughout all the updates. But as we change the learning rate at specific moments, the convergence and the minimization is more accurate. Therefore, the Adam optimization computes the adaptive learning rates of different parameters from estimates of first and second moments of the gradients. So here we can see that the Adam optimization has the advantages of both the moment algorithm and RMS prop algorithm, and we can see that the Adam optimization method is the most best method among the other algorithms. These are all some formulas that we need for calculating the Adam optimization algorithm. We can see that this uses an equation, VDB is equal to beta 1 VDB plus 1 minus 1 VDB. That is the equation for the exponential weighted average equation for the moment algorithm, and similarly, the exponential weighted algorithm for weighted average for the RMS prop algorithm. So this is a combination of these two measuring techniques. And for the Adam optimization method, the alpha needs to be tuned. Beta 1 is equal to 0.9 and beta 2 is equal to 0.999. Sigma is equal to 10 power minus 8. So the fifth question is, what is the role of learning rate decay in optimizing neural networks? Can you provide two decay functions? So the learning rate decay is a reduction in the learning rate at defined moments in the optimization. An algorithm will never converge if the learning rate is slowly reduced right at the beginning. When the learning rate starts reducing, the process the process takes will get smaller and end up oscillating in a minimum region rather than wandering away. So this means that when a learning rate starts reducing, the steps that the process takes will start reducing, and the oscillations will happen only in a minimum region rather than wandering in a large region. So this variation in learning rate or the learning rate decay needs to be customized for every model to optimize the loss slash cost function. Um, so when for every model, the learning rate decay needs to be customized, and also we need to customize at what point of the training the learning rate decay should occur. Initially, the learning rate can be high, but as the learning approach convergence, then having a slower learning rate will allow us to take smaller steps to get accurate convergence. So at the starting point, we can have high learning rate, and we need to have high learning rates so that it starts converging. But as the learning approaches the convergence, then having a low learning rate will help us to get accurate convergence. Some of the decaying functions are time-based decay, step decay, and exponential decay. Thank you so much for watching.